I'm the disc golf guy. I'm the disc golf guy. I'm the disc golf guy. I'm the disc golf guy, and this is my video blog. I'm the disc golf guy, and this is my video blog. I'm joined by our two-time world champion, Paul McBeth. And Paul, I did something I've never done before, which was follow a card for every single shot in order to record every single throw. You had, well, 50 or so throws plus a few penalties, so it was a few more than we expected today, but let's talk about it. I know you had a cool demeanor out on the course. Let's talk about how it went down.
Representing Florida, two-time world champion, Paul McBeth.
Chuck roll.
Oh yeah, chuck roll.
Champ love. Hole 1 and 2, I mean, great start. Tell everyone what happened.
Yeah, hole 1 and 2, I threw some really good drives and upshots, and I was lucky enough to just drop them in for birdie, so that was really easy.
Virtually no putting required, so to speak, and maybe that caught up with you on hole 3. You left yourself a little short. Well, tell us what happened there.
Yeah, hole 3 I threw a pretty good drive. I threw it a little low, ended up about probably 29, 28 feet. And unfortunately, having this early tee time, they didn't get the baskets out there to practice on early enough, so those were like my first two putts, or my first putt, and I just chained out right.
So then we move over to hole 4, which is a very challenging shot. Set up how someone has to attack that if you want to score a birdie there.
Yeah, hole 4, you either could go low right side or hang it out over the OB on the left, and I chose to go out left, and put it in a pretty good spot, which that hole, it's really about the drive, where you place it if you even have a shot for birdie. And I put it in a really good spot, and my second shot wasn't great at all.
And then you were about circle's edge, and unfortunately just splashed out on that putt as well.
Yeah, I think I was even closer, and I chained out right again.
So we move over to hole 5, which they've moved this year. It's a different tee. How do you feel about where that tee is compared to previous years?
I think it's more gives people more of a chance to go for 3 or eagle. You can really bomb drives out there off that tee. You could throw sidearm, you could throw rollers, you can throw big sky, flex shots over the OB, and potentially get a shot to go for it over the water.
So when you were up there and you were able to go at the green, you attacked it, and unfortunately it looked like it just slid in a little left. The grass might have been wet, or you may have just cut it off a little early. You had a big putt there to try and save that par. What were you thinking?
I knew I had to make it. I needed to make a putt to get myself started and warmed up, and just get that location right. So I was lucky enough to make it just outside the circle, and kind of got the ball rolling a bit.
Yeah, well, and then hole 6, unfortunately, you again just barely dipped outside of the fairway into the water, and you had another putt to save par. A little bit downhill onto the beach. What's going through your head there?
It was about a little longer than the last one, so I knew with the downhill, just putt it the exact same as that previous putt, and I was able to make that one too. I just needed to, focus more on my drives and actually throw them instead of trying to baby them there.
Yeah, it seemed like you were a little light on a handful of your drives. And then 7, let's talk about 7. That's again another new hole, or a new look at the hole this year, and you're forced to go right up the gut. What do you think?
I don't mind it. I was struggling the previous years with the bamboo, trying to throw that hyzer over the top, and last year I think was the first year I started going down the middle, so it really didn't bother me. But the drop zones on that hole, if you do miss, are tough drop zones. Very
punishing. Thank God you didn't have to worry about those in any ways. But yes, those are very punishing, and I think even just to save a 4 or even a 5 on that hole can be tough if you miss the drop zone. We move over to hole 8. And that's just a really challenging hole, regardless of how far you throw or not. What are you doing when you're attacking hole 8?
Hole 8, it's a different approach this year. The OB that's on the left, they really extended it to where previous years you could try to bomb it long, straight shot and hyzer into the fence, or try a big roller. But the extension now, it's making a lot of people lay up with the sidearm or a little mid-range hyzer. and that's pretty much how we're attacking it off the tee.
And you said after you made that putt for your birdie there on hole 8 that you haven't been getting it this week. Is it a hole that gives you challenge in the past, or has it just been in warm-up this week?
It has given me challenge in the past, getting the drives in safely, and like I said with that string OB, it's a whole new hole to me, trying to figure out how to approach that basket, and luckily enough I was able to figure it out the day before the tournament.
So as we move over to hole 9, it is again a game of inches, and you are just barely out of bounds. Was it a poor shot? Was it did you just not throw it hard enough? What went slightly wrong there?
It was kind of a mixture of both. I threw it on a good line that should have stayed safe, but with that big black wall that they had, it didn't let the sun dry up the grass, so it kind of just slid out. I think it slid on the ground about 6 feet. So it was an unfortunate.
And
break.
Again, 3, 4, 5 inches. I mean, that was barely.
Not even that. I mean, it was probably 1 or 2. It was pretty much on the stake.
You made a beautiful shot to approach to the basket and tapped in. You're still able to save your par 4 there.
Yes.
So one of the most exciting shots I would say of your round for sure would have to be your tee shot on 10. What are you throwing there?
That was a star destroyer. That was honestly the first time I've ever gone for it. We had no wind, so I figured why not, try to get it, especially with the break I had on the last hole. I needed something to turn it around.
And then they actually consider that an eagle too.
Yeah.
So it's 554 when you play out and around on the fairway. How far would you say that plays straight to the pin for you?
It's probably pretty close to 5, maybe 480. I'm not exactly sure. I'm ripping it pretty good, so
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty long drive.
Okay, so moving on to 11, which it seems like they've extended the rope down in the left corner. Is that a spot that you're going for, trying to land into?
I usually, previous years, I've just gone straight down the middle with the T-bird, but they brought that rope up, so I can't really have that room that I used to. So now I'm playing it down left and trying to get a sidearm there, possibly roller next round, depending on where I'm at. But yeah, it's a new play for me.
And you threw your forehand a little bit short, and then you were left yourself with a longer putt, and from there it looked like you just pretty much took your par and moved on.
Yeah, I had a pretty long look at it. I decided to run it, which I don't think I should have, because that putt coming back wasn't the easiest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think
you escaped all right there. We'll say that. You got your par 4. And then you have to move on to a hole where you've got to like your chances and your opportunities on hole 12. Used to be a par 5, now it's down to a par 4. You're still playing that for a 3. What are you throwing?
Yeah, I went with the same star destroyer that I did on hole 10, and then the upshot I threw a little more stable one because I was a little further down there, and I just squeaked it in bounds.
You and that rope, you put yourself up there, tapped in, and really moved on with a routine 3 for you, which is, like I said, in years past is considered to be an eagle. So we move over to the infamous 888 hole, and it seems like it bit you a little bit. What happened?
I threw my first drive, and I don't know what happened, but it just went straight into the ground and never had a chance to come back safe. So I had to re-tee, and again, the same thing happened with my rock, and it somehow I was lucky enough to skip up safe. And from there, I laid up and was able to put it pretty close to the basket, probably circle's edge, and make a 6 save.
Yeah, a 6 save, which is never a good thing that you want to be doing out here, but I guess it's better than a 7 or an 8. Again, it seemed like the OB just barely got you.
14.
So we're back on top up at the Coliseum again for 14. Big hyzer bomb, or what are you doing there? And why don't you throw a forehand?
I throw, yeah, like you said, I throw the big hyzer bomb. I just don't have that forehand. I think it plays about 380 down that hill. So I would prefer to throw the hyzer, and the wind's helping that hyzer. If you get it high enough, it's pushing it right towards the basket. And I put it pretty close, and again, I missed another putt.
I know, I don't want to pick on you, but you even said right there you thought that was a good one. When you released that putt, you thought that was good, and unfortunately it was just a bit low.
Yeah, the previous 2 I thought were low, and then this one I was like, oh, that one's perfect, and it went right into the cage.
All right, so we move over to hole 15 with the double Mando, and it's a really good par 4. How are you attacking it?
I'm throwing that Star Destroyer again on a little flex shot right down the middle. This round I threw it a little low, but I got a pretty good skip, and it put me up there in a good spot for 3.
And you had a perfect approach with a really nice forehand there, put yourself up there, and then tapped it for the birdie. That's got to feel like a really good 3 on that hole.
Yeah, 3 in that hole. It gave me some confidence to potentially get the next 2 birdies that were coming up, and unfortunately it didn't work out that way again.
So we're over on hole 16, and you elect to pretty much go straight up the gut with a mid-range. Why do you choose that shot?
I was throwing up the middle. It was actually a PD, so I was trying to just throw it right at the pole at the basket, not even try to throw it in or anything like that. And I prefer that one just because I think it's a little safer, but as you will see, it was not.
Unfortunately, just left. However, making the highlight reel was your throw in on that hole. Walk us through what you were doing there.
I knew I needed that. I can't for that hole. It's one of the easier par 3s, so I knew I needed to at least give it a run and at least hit the basket with the way I was putting. So I was fortunate enough to just have it drop right in there.
Moving on to 17, you got to get that one inbounds. What are you throwing?
Champion Glow Firebird. I've been playing that one pretty well. I'm just playing it to that right spot. Like you can see, the next coming tomorrow it's going to move a bit, so I'm just going to play it to the same spot and hopefully make the putt.
You made a good putt, had a birdie there. We move on to 18 to finish up, and how do you go about that one?
18, I'm trying to put it on the bottom side of the hill to get some flat ground and have a pretty simple hyzer up at the basket, but I threw it way up high right next to the mando tree, and it's not where you want to be.
You didn't land exactly where you wanted to when you were throwing from out of bounds, so you had to lay up. What happened?
Yeah, I put it inside the circle, probably only 20 feet, so I was pretty confident from there, but again, another putt in the circle that I didn't make, and I think that was probably the 4th or 5th putt in the circle that I missed today. Actually, 5th putt.
All right, you finish up, and your score at the end of the day was a
62.
A 62. You're certainly not out of this tournament. You got to come back. You got to shoot well the final 3 rounds. Are you going to change anything, or are you just going to make more putts?
No, just make the putts. Attack it a little different. Like the ones that stick in my head are hole 5 and hole 9. Those are easy shots I should make, but I just flattened them out and let them glide out of bounds. And there's just a couple mistakes, easy fixes, and then just go get some putting practice in, hopefully for tomorrow.
There you go. And again, it was just inches. There was at least 4 or 5 shots where you were just out of bounds by a few inches, and that's all about playing inside the ropes here at the USDGC.
Yep, and then it's just keeping that strong head on. Those little OBs could, have you shoot a 62 or 82. Depending on how it gets you.
All right. Well, with that being said, this is again Paul McBeth. It was a pleasure to watch you again. I know it wasn't your dream round out there, but it was still a pleasure. Cool, calm, and collected throughout, even when you weren't throwing your best shots. So thank you, and I hope everyone out there enjoys the hole-by-hole action. I'm the Disc Golf Guy. This is Paul McBeth, and we'll catch you guys next time.
I don't always visit northern Wisconsin, but when I do, I visit Sandy Point.